Part 23. I Can Break the Dimensional Wall. Author, Zhozhezi Jumiao. Chapter 222. The time in the game passed quickly, and the second game event also came to an end. During the event, Maple also received generous rewards. The rewards she received were enough to exchange for 2 skills. Like the original work, Maple exchanged a pet tortoise to grow bigger, and the other was telekinesis, which can make the tortoise suspended in the air. Now Maple can fly on a turtle and rain acid rain in the sky. In the past, Maple's title among players was Fortress, but now that she sees a huge turtle flying in the air, Maple's title has changed to Moving Fortress. On the 5th day of the game, Sioruo followed the Yanti Kingdom's team and fought several battles with other guilds. The silver coins obtained by plundering were much faster than Maple's searching alone. Sioruo harvested a lot of silver coins in it. Under the equal distribution, plus the gold coins given by the first activity before, Sioruo has 1 gold coin and 20 silver coins, and now she can acquire 3 skills. On the choice of skills, Sioruo considered for a long time, and finally chose 3 very targeted skills. One is Weapon Armor Penetration Enhancement, a skill that specifically deals with Maple. A wind magic that can control the wind. Sioruo is very good at using wind magic, and the wind can blow away the poisonous mist of Maple, can also increase the speed, increase the sharpness of the weapon. It is considered a comprehensive enhancement. The last skill is the skill Super Speed acquired in the late stage of Juda, which is an advanced version of the skill Super Acceleration. It was once fused to itself by pain in the later stage, causing great damage to Maple. Harvesting these 3 skills, Sioruo's strength has ushered in a major enhancement. Sioruo has briefly analyzed that now that he meets Maple again, he estimates that the battle will be won smoothly. After all, Maple in the later stage was beaten to nothing by pain. At the end of the second event, Sioruo's level is actually not low, and it is not difficult to deal with Maple. Just wait quietly for the event to start. So Sioruo quit the game and temporarily dealt with things in the real world. Mainly because the press conference of Minecraft and the virtual helmet is about to start. Sioruo got the Shield Lady animation upload, and now the second event, a long period of time has passed, the game helmet has started large-scale production, and now it can be sold at any time. About half a month later, the third event of Shield Girl started. Sioruo didn't participate in this event. In the game, this event is actually the establishment of the Maple Guild Big Maple Tree, has no practical significance. As time passed, in Tianbei City, the game press conference finally started. It was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. On the day of the press conference, Sioruo also went, and Rising Company invited many media people. It was approaching 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and one after another, people from the major news media all set up their photography equipment. For this press conference, Meng Zhan will also conduct a live broadcast. Before the press conference started, many people were already waiting online during the warm-up process of the live broadcast room. After all, Rising is an animation production company, and the animation fans it produces the amount is huge. Under the recommendation of the official homepage, the number of people in the live broadcast room began to increase rapidly. In the live broadcast room, the barrage began to fly rapidly. Rising press conference, what is the announcement? I don't know, I clicked on it when I saw the news, can anyone explain? I just came in too. In the barrage, many people came in to eat melons. They didn't know anything about the press conference before, and they didn't carry out large-scale publicity before their rise. Not many people knew about it. It seems to be a game press conference. Rise has switched to making games. Hey, are you making animations and games at the same time? Is it possible that I will be able to play the fan games of Rising Animation soon? Sure, Rise has so many IPs in his hands, it's definitely a loss to make IPs for others, and it's normal to make games by yourself. Is it a drawing card mobile game? I want to draw Akiyama Mio, Kikyo, and Tom, so draw. Charge and charge. I hope the quality of the production is better. Of course, there are also audiences who have known about it, and began to explain on the barrage. I heard that a game and a set of virtual equipment will be released at today's press conference. Yes, it doesn't seem to be a mobile game, but a virtual game similar to VR. What, Rise is going to make virtual wives using animated characters? Whoever came up with it, what a genius. The discussion on the bullet screen was very intense. The audience at the press conference were also discussing what the theme of the press conference was, and even discussing whether to make a VR game that could interact with animated characters. It seems that the animation production of the Rising Company has been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. But soon, the press conference officially started, and the live broadcast screen was officially adjusted. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Syaruo was watching the barrage on the phone from below. It was not convenient for him to go on stage, so Xiaogenzi went on stage. Syaruo's father took care of the real-world affairs. On the high stage, Xiaogenzi glanced down the stage. When the audience saw someone coming to the stage, the voices below instantly became much quieter. Okay, please calm down, everyone, Xiaogenzi asked the audience to be quiet before introducing himself. He just introduced himself. After briefly introducing himself, Xiaogenzi said, "It's a great honor, and I am very grateful to all the media friends and loyal users from all over the world for participating in this conference. Of course, I am here, and I want to tell you very boldly that I am here today to participate. The press conference will be an unforgettable memory in your life, because what you are about to witness is the birth of a miracle." There was laughter from the audience. It seemed that Xiaogenzi's speech was a bit funny. Technology companies like to brag like this, but an animation company who brags so hard is not afraid of embarrassment. Xiaogenzi didn't care about the laughter at all, and continued, "This time, the technology we want to introduce to you is an epoch-making technology, and it is also a new product developed by our company, a virtual game helmet." After finishing speaking, a staff member appeared next to Xiaogenzi. The staff member was holding a laptop computer, and the animation of Shield Lady was playing on the computer. To the scene where the virtual helmet is opened from the box after receiving the goods. Xiaogenzi clicked on the box on the laptop screen, and the staff at the side brought him an identical box, and then returned the laptop with him. Then, Xiaogenzi took out a helmet from the box just now. It was a very technological-looking helmet, and the image of the helmet was completely made according to Maple's helmet in the Shield Girl animation, almost exactly the same. It's like taking the item from the animation to reality. Such an operation really shocked the audience off the court. Looking at the helmet and what Xiaogenzi said just now, the barrage in the live broadcast room has exploded. Are you kidding me? A virtual game helmet? Is it really the helmet in Shield Lady? Can we get into NWO? It's not a joke. If it's true, I must buy one. It should be impossible, it's too exaggerated, I don't believe it. No one really thinks that this can be done with the current level of virtual reality. No one is really fooled. It should be an imitation made by Senduniang. It definitely doesn't have so many functions, at most it is the level of top-notch VR glasses, but this marketing is well done. Xiaogenzi picked up the helmet and looked at the audience below. I believe many viewers are thinking, including the audience in the live broadcast room, whether this helmet is the same as the one in Because I'm Too Afraid of Pain, Use Full Defense. Virtual helmet. I can tell you responsibly, yes. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 223. If there were noises below just now, but after hearing what Xiaogenzi just said, there was really no sound in the audience, and everyone fell into silence. Even the dense barrage in the live broadcast room has a momentary blank period. They didn't know whether what they just said was bragging or the truth. No matter which one it was, It felt very powerful. Rise is now considered a well-known animation company, and many of its animation works have become popular in the circle, and its popularity has also increased. Classic works such as Cat and Teacher and Spirited Away are not only popular in China, but also abroad. As an animation company, it has risen to a considerable reputation in the world. Among them, the Shield Girl animation is the latest animation that is rising now. It has been over for a while, and no new animation has appeared so far. Although this work is somewhat controversial because it is too phoenix and proud, it is not as good as the previous classics, but even if you have not seen the concept of holographic online games, people present probably understand it. It is precisely because of their understanding that it is difficult for them to imagine that such a technology can really appear in reality so quickly. Is the virtual reality device described in the animation, a product of science fiction, really coming? The internet in the real world is developing rapidly, download and upload speeds are getting faster and faster, and computer hardware is being updated every year. The original top-notch hardware may become obsolete in a year. In this rapid development, the audience feels that virtual reality is possible. Yes, it's just that no one thought it would come so soon. After a brief silence, there was a louder discussion. Some media are even more excited. If it is true, then this is definitely a really big news. The barrage in the live broadcast room was so dense that it was impossible to see the content of the press conference clearly. The barrage covering the screen covered everything. If Xiaogenzi was not exaggerating, then they might really be here to see a miracle happen. Virtual reality, does it really exist? I thought it would take decades, even when I was old, to see it. In theory, if there is no technological breakthrough, it will really take a long time. My heart is already pounding, it's burning, it's so powerful, Rise never lets me down. Is there really a miracle? Buy, Rising Bull, beer, buy whatever you pay. Brothers, don't brag, wait for him to finish speaking, and look at the situation first. The field is still rioting. Xiaogenzi listened to the voices off the court, and watched quietly without speaking. Finally, he slowly waited until the court quieted down. After a pause, Xiaogenzi continued, "Okay, let's not gossip, let's enter the topic of today's press conference." After speaking, Xiaogenzi picked up the virtual helmet in his hand and began to introduce the relevant information of the virtual helmet. Of course, not only the helmet, but also the matching gloves. It talks about how immersive the helmet will bring people, and then there are some core key issues, such as not causing any damage to the human body. These processes are similar to other normal releases. When the talk was about the same, Xiaogenzi glanced at the audience below. He knew that the audience at the scene actually wanted to know the effect of the virtual reality equipment. I know that many viewers want to know how the helmet works. I will demonstrate it to you personally and play a small game made by us. In order to demonstrate the function of the virtual helmet, Xiaogenzi put the helmet in his hand on his head, put on the gloves at the same time, and lay down on a chair that he could rely on, as if sleeping. Xiaogenzi entered the game. Xiaogenzi is playing a small game that comes with the game helmet, Mario. This is a small game made by Xiaoruo. The process of the game is displayed on the big screen, but from the perspective of bystanders, it is like watching a VR game video from the first perspective, and cannot feel the essence of truly entering the virtual world. However, even from the perspective of a bystander, it can be seen that this simple little game crushes the VR games produced by major manufacturers on the market, whether it is in terms of details or freedom. For example, after hitting the mushroom, the plumber can jump to the top and pull the mushroom up with his hands. The player inside can jump, walk, or dance, and the body is completely controlled by himself. Among them, the 5 fingers of the plumber are clearly visible, and the fingers can move freely, even snapping fingers, as flexible as in the real world, but there is no VR game on the market that can do this. The barrage also started to praise. Is this really a virtual reality game? It's 100 times better than what I bought. Oh my god, that looks really fun. I know about holographic technology, but it can be so clear and vivid. I have never seen any company with this kind of technology. I don't know if it is really like NWO, which can enter consciousness. I really want to buy one. You are still thinking about buying, but someone else has already placed an order. After Xiaogenzi finished a level, he quit the game. Okay, let's stop here. As for the effect, it is difficult for me to describe it in words. I will demonstrate it to everyone present, and you are just bystanders. Virtual reality is to experience it yourself in order to understand the fun of it. Of course, if you want to experience the charm of virtual reality, you also need a good game. Having said that, another change occurred on the screen behind Xiaogenzi. The first thing that comes out of the screen is a mosaic square, then the second, and finally countless squares appearing together. With the classic BGM of MC, the squares spell out 4 very three-dimensional characters on the screen. My world. Xiaogenzi looked at the audience below and shook the device in his hand. Anyone want to come up and try it? We have prepared a few devices. The press conference is over. But the impact has only just begun. On the same day, Meng Zhan posted countless updates and reposted the recorded video of this press conference. The messages were all exaggerated and unbelievable. Among them, the discussion area of Meng Zhan was almost all about the content of this conference, and almost all the game area up are ready to record the first-hand live game video. In the comment section, some people questioned it, some praised it, some watched it, and some thought it was hype. No one really thinks that the virtual helmet is real. There are many arguments like this. Hot searches on the internet, news editors, and self-media. The impact of this press conference is so great that it has caused a sensation on the entire internet. Virtual reality, which has been touted for several years, is finally about to take off. The news that Rising successfully developed a virtual helmet has spread all over the internet in a short period of time. After all, this is a major advancement in the history of human science and technology, and human beings are about to enter a new era of virtual networks. While the press conference was still going on, the 50,000 virtual headsets that Xiaoruo had prepared at the beginning were sold out, and the price was 5,888, which is a good price for a smartphone, much cheaper than the VR glasses on the market that can easily cost tens of thousands of yuan. This price is really a conscientious price. Buy it and get a holographic game Minecraft for free. Even when many people searched it on the official website, they almost thought they were dazzled. As for why it is 50,000 units, the main reason is that the completion time of the game is too short, and I am worried that too many players will flood in, and there may be some new bugs in the game, so I am preparing to put it into the market slowly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Zhijumiao. Chapter 224. All 50,000 virtual headsets shipped. Although the discussion on the internet is heated now, it is only enthusiastic. The fire will not really burn until the players receive the goods. Meng Zhan has a very keen sense of game up, and they have pre-ordered game helmets in advance. After all, they rely on this for food. Every time there is a new game released by a major player, they will always start with it immediately, and then make a commentary video. If you are one step late, then the recommendations and rankings in the game area will all be related game videos. Maybe the audience has already watched them in other ups. If you release them at that time, you will have missed the best time. You fried rice. In a certain villa in Shanghai, a young man who looked very thin and calm looked at the delivery box in front of him. He had been waiting for this delivery for a long time. He is a well-known up master in the Meng Zhan game area. His real name is Yu Hua, and the nickname of Mengjian is Mia. He usually likes to live broadcast some difficult strategy games. The strategy videos he makes are well known in Mengjian. Many fans of the game. Of course, I also like to find some interesting VR games to play and give benefits to fans. As the up of Mengjian, he naturally knows that Mengjian is closely related to Rising Company, so he ordered one immediately after the news of the virtual helmet was released this time. Although Rise is not a big game company, but as a well-known animation company, no matter how well the game is produced, this game is worth playing just because of its reputation. At first he thought it was just a review and commentary of a new game as usual, but he didn't expect that the press conference actually informed him that it was a virtual reality helmet. It's finally here, I've been waiting for a long time. Holding this courier box, Yu Hua was also a little excited. The courier was delivered very quickly, almost in a day, but with such a short delivery time, he still felt like his days were like years. There is no way not to be excited to be able to play a game like in science fiction. He has watched the video of the press conference 3 or 4 times, as well as the first episode of the Shield Girl animation, and then has been paying attention to the news on the internet to see if anyone has received the goods. His fan base was very unlucky, almost no one got the helmet, and they bought it too late, but according to the comments on the internet, this helmet seems to be real. Anyway, the response was very enthusiastic, and many screenshots leaked out. But just relying on screenshots is like watching delicious food through the screen. You can only drool, but you can't eat it, and your heart is like a cat scratching. Now the helmet has finally arrived. Yu Hua did not open the box directly, but opened his own live broadcast. He wanted to share the process of opening the box with his fans. In order to attract the audience, he created a title. Open the box and rise to the virtual helmet, and the game journey begins. Soon, the live broadcast started, and after receiving the dynamic prompt, many fans of Yu Hua poured into the live broadcast room. Hi, hello, everyone, I'm Mia. Yu Hua said hello to the audience watching the live broadcast. This is his favorite opening line when making videos. I want to tell you a good news. I have received the virtual helmet made by Rise, and now I am unpacking it with everyone. I originally wanted to make a video of the unboxing, but I am so excited, so I will broadcast it live to everyone. Share the joy. Looking at the box on the table at this moment, the porridge is already boiling. Mia-jun actually bought it, and it was sold out when I went to buy it. Ah, I really want it too, Maple's helmet of the same style. Whoever buys it, I will pay a high price. Get out of the box, I can't wait. I saw a lot of people who bought it on the internet saying that this virtual headset can really enter the game consciously, but the game production is not very good, it is a mosaic world, and it is far from NWO. Quickly unbox. Quickly unbox. At this time, because of the title, it attracted a lot of onlookers, and the popularity of the live broadcast room was also rising. Yu Hua watched this scene without any hesitation. If it wasn't for the live broadcast, he would have wanted to open the box a long time ago. He immediately took out a knife and cut open the box, taking the virtual helmet out of the box. The virtual helmet is pure black, with a sense of technology. There is a baffle for the eyes, and the face is unobstructed. It is exactly the same as that used by Maple in Shield Girl. There are also 2 pairs of white gloves. There are many on the gloves that look like it is an induction device. Yu Hua looked at the helmet in his hand. This helmet is the same as the one used in the press conference at that time, and it is exactly the same as the one in the animation. The texture is also very good to the touch. Let me see its weight. This weight, probably the same as the weight of a motorcycle helmet, compared to mine. It's lighter than expected. Let's take a look at the inside of the helmet, how it feels like a normal helmet. Yu Hua looked inside the helmet for a long time, but he didn't see how this helmet allows people to directly enter the game world. There are many designs inside the helmet that allow players to lie down comfortably, and there is also a layer of cushions. It doesn't feel like some kind of high-tech, but more like a massage machine. The corners of Yuhua's mouth twitched, looking at the live camera. I looked at this helmet, just for a moment. I had a feeling of being cheated, as if I was cheated. 5,888 paid IQ tax. Ha 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 ha. It really doesn't look very reliable. Miao Jun has been fooled again. 5,888 bought a lesson. 666. It shouldn't be possible. This one supports refunds. It's too stupid to cheat people like this. Just play it and you'll know. Hurry up and start the game. Play the game. Play the game. At the request of the audience, Yuhua picked up the instruction manual of the helmet and began to learn how to use it on the spot. There was no way, it was his first time operating it after all. Watching him read the instruction manual on the spot, there were countless complaints on the barrage, and some people even asked whether they could learn to operate in one day. However, the virtual helmet is really not difficult to operate, and the content of the manual is also very detailed. Yuhua can almost use it after reading it. He even felt that the difficulty of using this helmet was not as difficult as using the washing machine at home. This virtual helmet can be used directly without plugging into a computer, but when playing online games, it needs to connect to Wi-Fi. Hey, you can still broadcast the game live. Yuhua found that this virtual helmet can also be connected to a computer with a data cable, and the game content can be displayed on the computer, even live broadcast. After that, he connected the virtual helmet to the computer according to the steps introduced in the manual, and set the live broadcast mode inside the helmet. Masters of the audience, wait a moment, I will broadcast the game live for you right away. After finishing speaking, Yuhua changed the live broadcast mode. When the previous live broadcast room went dark, Yuhua's live broadcast room also became pitch black, and his live broadcast room was closed. But after a few minutes, the studio restarted again. At this time, Yuhua has already entered the virtual world with the helmet on. This time, what the audience saw was Yuhua's perspective, and at the same time, what appeared in the live broadcast room were large characters piled up with countless squares. My world is online. Enter the game. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 225. How much money can you make selling virtual headsets? In fact, the cost of the virtual helmet is not very high, because in the world of Shield Lady, except for the highly developed virtual game, the rest of the technological level is not much different from Xiaoruo's real world. The materials for making helmets are also very common materials, because the technology is brought by Xiaoruo, and there is almost no research and development costs. The main investment is the investment in production. Even if the price is not high, the profit has reached more than half. Sold 50,000 sets a day, just a profit, which is equivalent to earning 9 figures a day. This is just the beginning. With the development of virtual reality, this technology cannot be used only in games, such as medical treatment, entertainment, etc. Holographic technology can be used in all aspects of life. At that time, holographic technology may be turned on. Era. Virtual helmets may really enter thousands of households just like household appliances. Of course, that was a long time later. Now virtual reality has just begun, and there are virtual helmets, but the only thing that can be used is actually the Minecraft online game. At this time, the popularity of Yuhua's live broadcast room has exceeded 1 million. It may be that other game UPS have not received the helmets, or they are playing games and recording videos and have not started the live broadcast. Anyway, Yuhua is the only one currently broadcasting the big up of the holographic game. Many viewers were also attracted to other live broadcast rooms, and they were all in the live broadcast room at this time, wanting to see how the virtual helmet works. At this time, after Yuhua put on the helmet and entered the game, he found himself in a very magical place, surrounded by darkness, but there were several huge options in front of him. Survival mode. Create mode. Looking at this option, Yuhua chose survival mode. For this game, Yuhua is not completely unprepared. He has searched for relevant information on the internet these days, some of which were revealed by players after receiving the game. Yuhua also has a certain degree of understanding of the game Minecraft Online. Survival mode is to survive in a random birthplace. This game has a scary degree of freedom. You can do everything in the game. For the next few options, Yuhua chose the multiplayer mode, then named it Meow Meow June, and finally entered the game of Minecraft. As soon as Yuhua was born, he found himself in a dense forest. This feeling was like coming to a different world, completely different from the feeling of playing VR. There is no special scenery around, only trees, but those trees are a little different from real trees. All of those trees have edges and corners, and they are square trees. It's actually real, you can really come to the game world. This is not VR, it's a real holographic world. Yuhua's tone was a little excited. There is no way not to be excited, because now he feels that he is no longer playing games, but a feeling of traveling to another world. Only relying on this feeling, he felt that 5,888 would not be in vain. Surrounded by squares, Yuhua took a look at his body, and found that his body was also a square mosaic, but fortunately he designed it with 5 fingers. Just looking at his square arms, it is really somewhat strange. But this is a sandbox game, and Yuhua knew a little bit about how to play it online before, so he wasn't too surprised. In fact, Yuhua thinks this design is good, because the feeling of holography is too real, and this is an online game, so there will definitely be a lot of players flooding in the future. If it is like a normal online game, the people created are all handsome men and women. Even if they are avatars, there is no guarantee that nothing bad will happen. But if everyone is a cube person, there will be no such worries. At this time, Yuhua has already started to think about the future of holographic games. He feels that this game is the future. Not long after entering the game, an announcement popped up in front of Yuhua. Dear player, welcome to Minecraft Online. For the sake of the player's physical and mental health, this game will automatically adjust the pain perception to 0. I hope you can have fun. Yuhua has also learned about this on the internet before. The holographic game has a sensory system. He only got to this game for a few minutes, and Yuhua felt that apart from the screen, this game really achieved the feeling of NWO. Although the game is very rough, it is understandable that as the first holographic large-scale online game, it should still be in the trial stage. After speaking, Yuhua continued to explore the game. At this time, Yuhua had already forgotten that he was live broadcasting and was addicted to it. He is like a curious baby, looking east and west, touching here and there. When playing this game, it is very different from the mouse, keyboard, and handle. Even if he picked a mushroom, he would be happy for a long time. At the same time, he also tried the skills in the game, rolling trees. Facing the big tree beside him, he punched and kicked, and finally knocked the big tree into a wooden block, and put the wooden block into the inventory. Even if he was rolling the tree, Yuhua was full of interest. 1 block of wood can be turned into 4 planks. With planks, a house can be built and a place to live. Yuhua is also very interested in building. However, the game world passed quickly. In the MC world, night came the fastest. When Yuhua realized it, he saw that the sun had completely set. Oops, it's getting dark. Why is it getting dark so fast? In the MC world, there will be monsters appearing at night. Yuhua also knows about this. I heard that this game is hell mode at night. At night, The BGM sound of the game has changed. Ah! There was the sound of zombies roaring around, accompanied by the collision sound of click and click bones. It seemed that the skeleton soldiers also brushed nearby. The monster is out, I have to find a place to hide quickly. Yuhua thought of the advice given by an old man who had played games in the forum, and immediately squatted down to dig a hole in place, planning to dig a hole to bury himself first, and then go out in the daytime. Yuhua's hands were digging desperately on the flat ground. Not long after, there was a bang where Yuhua was digging, and the ground turned into a clod and burst out. The ground was also sunken. As long as Yuhua keeps digging like this, he can dig a pit and bury himself. But lack of tools, Yuhua is still too slow. Click, click. The voice of the skeleton soldier was getting closer. Snapped. Yuhua felt as if he had been shot in the back of the head by something, and his blood volume dropped by 2 bars. He touched it and found a hard object. With a strong pull, he pulled out an arrow from the back of his head. He was shot by a skeleton soldier just as he was digging a hole. In the holographic mode, this terrifying atmosphere cannot be felt in computer games. Although there is no pain, it still feels like pulling an arrow from the back of the head, which still makes the hair stand on end. Yuhua was so frightened that he gave up digging the hole, turned around and ran to a place where there were no monsters. However, night is the hunting ground for monsters. As long as it is a dark place, monsters will spawn everywhere. Because it is an online game, Xiaoruo deliberately increased the number of monsters spawned, which is almost 4 or 5 times that of the original game, and also increased the speed of monsters, so there is almost no absolutely safe place in the wild. There was little chance of surviving the siege. After all, it is a holographic game, the player has a lot of room to operate, more flexible, and can cooperate, so the monster is too weak and there is no threat at night. Because he didn't look for food before, Yuhua's hunger was getting higher and higher, and his blood volume could not be restored. On the way to escape, he was followed by a row of zombies and skeleton soldiers, and sword rain was floating around him. To be honest, the thrill of life and death in this holographic game is really soaring adrenaline. It is estimated that he will die here on his first day of survival. But just when Yuhua was in despair, he seemed to see a ray of light. Relying on the last bit of blood, he ran while avoiding arrows. He finally came to a small log cabin with torches burning around it. It's hard to imagine that there is a log cabin in such a desolate wilderness. Come on in. The door of the hut opened, and a girl's voice came from it. Is human. Yuhua didn't hesitate, and immediately rushed into the hut. After Yuhua came in, the girl closed the door immediately. Outside the door, there was the sound of monsters knocking on the door and the sound of arrows raining. Thank you for saving me. Yuhua breathed a sigh of relief, and said to the girl in front of him who had saved him. The voice of the other party was a girl, but it still looked like a female square figure with the name Internet Addiction Girl on her head. Will the monster rush in? Hearing the voice outside the door, Yuhua still seemed a little scared, because the feeling of being chased by the monster just now was too real. No, the doors won't be broken, they'll go away after a while. The internet-addicted girl glanced at Yuhua, and then gave him a piece of roast beef from the oven. Eat it, return some blood. Oh, thank you. Yuhua didn't expect to meet such a nice person, so he took a bite of the beef and found that he really had the feeling of eating roast beef. Although the picture of this game is rough, it has such details. While eating the beef, Yuhua looked at the cabin. This is an oak tree cabin. Although it is not big, it is very delicate. It seems that it has been carefully designed. It should be built by the girl herself. This virtual helmet has just been released, and the other party is at most 1 day ahead of him. I didn't expect to play it so much. Alright. Things are not given to you for free. The internet-addicted girl glanced at Yuhua, and pointed to the stone manuscript lying beside her. Build during the day, go to the mine at night, go down to the mine with me in a while, there are many monsters under the mine, you go to be the bait. Yuhua. At this time, what Yuhua didn't know was that his live broadcast room had exploded, and the links were forwarded and posted everywhere, and the popularity of the live broadcast room was approaching tens of millions. Holographic games are really much more fun than normal games. Everyone knows that the holographic era is coming. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Zhiwai. Chapter 226. Through the live broadcast, many players learned about the gameplay of virtual reality, and the private messages on the official account of Rise were flooded that day. All players want to order helmets, and even ask when the next helmet will be released, for fear of missing the next opportunity. And the comments from players who have played this game are all full marks, and there is not a single bad review. As the first large-scale holographic game, Minecraft Online got a perfect score of 10. These players leave messages everywhere on the internet, praising how fun the game is, and then show off in forums and chat groups, acting as free sailors for Rise. This is not only the real sense of substitution of the virtual helmet, but also the game quality of Minecraft Online itself is too good. The classic games of the previous life can still become classics in another world. The construction gameplay is the player's favorite, and players can use the blocks in it to build houses that they can live in. The production process is also very simple. For a simple log cabin, chopping trees is like building blocks. It can be made in less than an hour, and you can also have a sense of accomplishment in making it yourself. Unlike the original game, the holographic game can also be used to make furniture after the house is built. For the setting of the furniture, Xiaoruo deliberately added a lot of furniture manufacturing methods, and the details of the furniture, Xiaoruo made the best. The furniture is almost the same as in reality, and even the comfort of the wool bed is top-notch. Building your own house in a virtual world that you can enter holographically is equivalent to having your own villa in the game. This feeling is really great. Xiaoruo felt that no one could resist the charm of the small villa in the game world. And if you work a little harder, you can live in a big villa, an ancient castle, the ancient capital Luoyang, the city in the sky, the abyss and the rift, or even build walls and drain the seawater to live in an underwater temple. And Minecraft Online has too much freedom, you can play almost any way you want. Players can fight monsters, build, socialize, and mine in this world, which can be regarded as a second world. Except that it is all squares, this game world has almost no shortcomings. As for cubes, this is a game feature in itself, in fact, just get used to it. Because Xiaoruo adjusted the attributes of the monsters, making the monsters at night more terrifying, and making the world more exciting. At night, looking at the group of monsters surrounding your castle on your own castle, blowing the wind, and listening to the roar of the monsters, this feeling is also very wonderful. When MC's redstone system is launched, the technology tree can also be lit up. The redstone system is another essence of MC at that time. The game will go further and develop more gameplay in an instant. During the period when the virtual helmet was released, this period was also Xiaoruo's busiest period. Because Xiaoruo has learned the related technologies of virtual reality games with reputation points, and she is also the one who knows the most. If there are any problems in Minecraft Online, Xiaoruo needs to deal with them. This is something that can't be helped. These days, Xiaoruo has almost no time to play games, and only logs into NWO once every few days. Even if he logs into the game, he only goes to fight a few bosses to improve his level, maybe a few levels, so that his level will not be too far behind. Xiaoruo will quit the game. It's not just the third event for NWO, Xiaoruo didn't participate in many guild events. During this period of time, Xiaomeng had nothing to do. She, Maple and others formed a guild called Big Maple. In the Big Maple tree, Maple has gathered many powerful game masters. Although there are not many people, With Maple, the strength of this guild is not weaker than that of ordinary big guilds. In Yandi's kingdom, Sioruo was the player with the least amount of time to log into the game. Even Miyi had a hard time seeing Sioruo several times in the game. Sioruo, are you a social animal in the real game? Why are you so busy every day? Miyi once saw Sioruo and asked him such a question. No, it's just that I've been a little busy recently and don't have much time to play games. I will definitely participate in the fourth event, Sioruo replied looking at Miyi. Alright. Miyi looked at Sioruo, and she had a bad feeling that Sioruo might retreat at any time due to practical reasons. Although the other party has good game skills, he is not someone who can really use games as a second life. Of course, Miyi will not ask Sioruo to do anything. After all, this is just a game, not reality, and the two of them have never been connected offline. In the next few days, Miyi's bad premonition came true. Sioruo didn't appear in NWO for several days in a row. During that time, Sioruo was really busy with some things, and the fourth event was slowly warming up. A week later, it was time for the guild battle to start. NWO's event mascot duo Lagong appeared in all guilds, introducing them to the overall content of the event. The content of the fourth activity is guild battle, and the duration is also 5 days. The rule of the event is the core competition. Every guild has a core. As long as the core is still in its own guild, the guild will gain points over time. Snatching cores from other guilds and bringing them to your own guild will also increase points. If you snatch it, you will lose points. Of course you can also snatch it back. In the guild battle, each guild member can only die 5 times, that is, 5 lives, but there will be punishment for being killed. The first death will reduce all attributes by 5%, the second death will reduce the attributes by another 10%, the third death will reduce the attributes by another 15%, and so on. When all guild members cannot be resurrected, the guild will be eliminated. This event is actually just a war between the big guilds. The so-called small guilds are actually the nourishment of the big guilds. Of course, the great Maple Guild that Maple belongs to is not among them. Just as the fourth event was about to start, and Miyi and the others were still worried about whether Sioruo could catch up, Sioruo appeared. I'm sorry, there was a bug in our company's game before, I went to deal with it, and it took me some time, Sioruo said embarrassedly to the people who were waiting for her after arriving at the guild of the Yandi kingdom. Seeing Sioruo coming, Miyi was relieved, but she didn't show any expression on her face, she just nodded to Sioruo, indicating that she knew. Hey, Sioruo, you are a game programmer, no wonder you are so skilled, the trap master Max looked at Sioruo curiously. He thought Sioruo was a student before. Programmer is only a part-time job, and his job is a swordsman who is good at cutting necks, Sioruo said, looking at Max's neck. Under Sioruo's stare, Max's neck felt a little chilled. Haha, you really know how to joke. Even though he said this, Max always felt that Sioruo was not joking. At this time, the fourth event began. PS1, I just realized that the titles of the previous chapters were all wrong. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 227. During the event, Sioruo and the members of Yandi Kingdom came to a very flat square, and in the center of the square was an altar with cores. That core is the core that Yan Emperor's kingdom needs to protect. In the fourth event, in order to protect the small guild, the stronghold of the small guild is a cave that is easy to defend and difficult to attack, while the stronghold of the big guild is a completely unobstructed open area. Except for Emperor Yan's country, the rest of the guilds also went to their own guild residences. The Holy Sword Assembly is an extremely open base just like Yandi's kingdom, while the big maple tree is in a small cave. At this moment, Just entering the event world, Pain, who had gathered the holy sword, and Sally, the brain of the big maple tree, began to arrange the event plan according to the geographical location. However, very unified, they all said the most important point of this event. We try not to conflict with Yandi's kingdom. In the Holy Sword Assembly, Pain said to his guild members. Pain has shining blonde hair, a handsome face, and a dazzling armor. Judging from his appearance, he is definitely the most perfect warrior. If Maple is the Demon King, then Pain is a powerful hero and the natural enemy of the Demon King. His strength is already at the top of the NWO game, ranking first in all servers, and he can win dozens of people without using skills. He is also the only player in the original NWO who can threaten Maple. Do you care about the first one? He is indeed a very troublesome monster, the female mage Frederica nodded. She was a mage who smiled like a cat. Today, Sioruo's nickname is number 1, because she won the first place in the first event, and Sioruo's PK strength is also recognized as the first in the whole server. Frederica usually collects information, and the more she learns, the more she can understand the horror of the number 1. It doesn't feel like a human being can do it anymore. Aren't you even Ian's opponent? How is it possible? Warrior Delago said in surprise. He had never seen Sioruo before, so he was surprised that even Ian was afraid of that person. When he and Ian PK, there was almost no powerless. If there is no restriction skill to restrict the opponent's actions, my chance of winning is less than 10%, Pain said honestly, and did not hold back. The first one is a monster. The green-clothed assassin, Chwid, seemed to have thought of the monster that killed him in seconds. He and Sioruo fought against each other in the first event, and it was a real despair. So, according to what I said, avoid the kingdom of Emperor Yan first, and don't conflict with the kingdom of Emperor Yan, Pain repeated. Yes. The people below responded. Inside the guild maple tree. Let's try not to conflict with Yandi's kingdom. Sally said to the members of Big Maple Tree. Is the kingdom of Yandi the number 1 guild right now? A very cute little girl asked suspiciously. Her name is Mai. She was recently recruited into the guild by Maple. She is a girl with full attribute strength. But she hasn't played the game for long, and she hasn't participated in the first 2 activities, so some things are not very clear. The kingdom of Yandi is indeed the strongest guild today, but what Miss Sally cares about is the one from the kingdom of Yandi, swordsman Sioruo, the strongest guild in rumors, the female warrior Xia touching her samurai sword and said, when Sioruo said, there was also a fighting spirit in Sioruo's eyes. Xia is also good at swordsmanship, and she is very interested in swordsmen. I haven't fought against that one, and I haven't even met him once. I heard that his swordsmanship is outstanding. I really want to see him. The other party may be real. He is also a master of swordsmanship. The shield soldier Krom was once killed by Sioruo in the first event, and the scene of that time is still fresh in his memory. Now even if the level is higher and the equipment is better, when he recalls the situation at that time, he still has a feeling of powerlessness, hopelessness. Don't get me wrong, that guy is really a monster. If you look at him, you should be instantly killed. Maybe you can't even see his sword. What kind of swordsmanship do you know? Chrome couldn't help but strike. Xiaomeng was quietly on the sidelines, listening to them discuss how powerful her brother was. She also doesn't understand why her brother is so strong in this game. Maybe it's because boys are very good at playing games. My brother used to be very good at playing games, but he seems to be very busy recently, so he doesn't log in much. Hey, is he really that strong? But we have Miss Maple, so you shouldn't be afraid. Miss Maple is so strong. Mai said the most powerful player she has ever seen is Maple, so she is very concerned about Maple. I am very confident, and even feel that it is impossible for anyone to be a match for MS Maple. I can't. Seeing that the topic turned to herself, Maple quickly waved her hands. Maple is also a little distressed. I don't know why, people always want to compare her with Sioruo. Such titles often appear in game forums, and the replies are always inexplicably many. Maybe it's because she and Sioruo are the two most controversial players, and they have fought against each other before, but there is no winner. Is Maple? I don't know if Maple is the opponent now. Sally looked at Maple, raising her eyebrows. Maple has now added a demon form and a mechanical god form, and her strength has greatly increased. But both of them are monsters, so it's really hard to judge who is strong and who is weak. Sally has been playing the game for so long, but she has never heard that there are players like Sioruo and Maple in the game. In short, try not to conflict with Sioruo. The other party is Menjiang's brother. Even if we do meet, it won't be too difficult for you. Yes. By the way, Menjiang, the female warrior Xia approached Xia Meng, with a hint of expectation in her eyes. Is your brother really good at swordsmanship in real life? Swordsmanship? Xia Meng tilted her head. My brother doesn't know swordsmanship, probably. For some reason, Xia Meng's tone had some uncertainties in it at the end. Today's Emperor Yan Kingdom has become the #1 guild after Sioruo joined, and Sioruo's strength is even more feared by most players. In the resident of Yandi Kingdom. Sioruo, you came late and didn't hear our plan. I'll tell you again. With a firebird on her shoulder, Miyi said to Sioruo calmly. At the same time, she stretched out two fingers. This event is mainly about two aspects, offense and defense. There must be a strong attacking team, and at the same time a stable rear defense, and even defense is more important. No matter which guild it is, in this case, it is possible to attack us, even a night attack, that is to say, the battle will continue forever. Sioruo didn't speak, just listened quietly. He knew that Miyi was going to give him a task. Because you came late, and I'm not sure whether you will participate. Now the attacking team has been set. I will lead the team out to plunder the cores of other guilds. Since you have rushed, stay at the base to defend. Please, Miyi said, looking at Sioruo. Defense. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 228. Sioruo frowned when she heard that she was going to stay and defend. But Miyi also said that the plan was made before, and Sioruo was absent from the meeting before the event, and he was not included in the event when he was not sure whether he would participate in the event. Of course, there are other considerations for Miyi to make a plan like this. In the original work, the core of Yandi's kingdom gathering other guilds is Miyi leading the guild members to attack. Relying on her excellent command and strong strength, she is invincible along the way, and if she encounters trouble, she can let members of other guilds take the core back first. This is the advantage of Yandi Kingdom. The members of Yandi Kingdom are all gathered together because of her. As the president, she must take the lead, and it is impossible to stay at the base, so Miyi can only let Sioruo stay at the base to defend, so that the rear can be safe and worry-free. Sioruo also knew that it was impossible for Miyi to stay at the base, so he made another suggestion. I think that if you collect cores by yourself, Miyi, you should not be able to compare with Pain, who is assembled by the Holy Sword. He has many powerful master players under him, and the speed of collecting points must be faster than you. If the points are behind, it will be too unexpected to recover in the later stage. In this case, it is better to let me alone as an attacking team, and we will divide into two groups. This is more efficient and can get more points. Hearing Sioruo's proposal, Miyi thought for a while, but what about defense? If you and I leave the base, who will stop the attacks of other guilds? There are many powerful guilds participating in this event. Max is here for defense, Sioruo said, and patted Max's shoulder beside her. Ah, me, the thin Max seemed not expecting Sioruo to value him so much, but he was a little unconfident. Max's trap ability is the best in the whole server. Even for the most powerful player, it will take some time to break through his trap. You can send messages during the event. If there is a difficult enemy attacking, as long as Max stopped the enemy, I can come back within 3 minutes. Sioruo's tone was full of confidence. In the original work, Sally was besieged by the enemies gathered by the Holy Sword. When she was about to lose her strength, she sent a message to Maple. Maple could even fly to the scene in the form of an angel. Prue is slow. Miyi thought for a while, then glanced at Sioruo. Okay, it's decided like that. The game has just started, and all the guilds have confirmed their attack queues. The Yandi Kingdom's attacking formation has been determined to be 2 teams, Miyi and the Yandi Kingdom army led by her as 1 team, and Sioruo as a single team. The Holy Sword Assembly also divided into several powerful queues, all of which were equipped with armored legions assembled by the Holy Sword. As for Maple's Great Maple Guild, there are also 2 attack teams, the female warrior Xia and the shield soldier Chrome, and Sally's single team. Although the team is small, they are all elites. In the NWO game, the strongest attacking queues should be all in these 3 guilds. If the above queues collide, it will definitely be a fierce battle. After confirming the attacking team, all the guilds set off without wasting any time. Sioruo also set off from the kingdom of Emperor Yan. Today's Sioruo's level has improved a lot, although there is not much time to log into the game. They are all bosses, and the efficiency is high, once every few minutes, so the level is considered high. All agility is increased, and agility is faster. What he was looking for at the beginning was a dense forest. Although Sioruo was very fast, but because he wanted to search for the hidden guild, Sioruo did not rush at full speed. Most of his attention was on the surroundings to see if there were any in the forest. Hidden cave. In the guild battle of the 4th event, the most frequent ones were those small guilds. Of course, Maple was also Sioruo's target. I don't know if I can meet Maple, but if I meet Maple on the first day, then I will be lucky, Sioruo murmured on the way. However, Sioruo felt that she and Maple should be a little less lucky. During the search, Sioruo quickly saw several figures in the forest. It was an attacking team of more than a dozen people. While exploring the surroundings, they put on a vigilant posture. It seemed that they were sent by the small guild to snatch the core team. It's just that the shape of that team looks very special. There are more than a dozen players wearing hats with 2 bull horns on their heads, which are very neat. They look like Tauren. I don't know if their guild is called Tauren. Guild. Swish. Sioruo had already appeared in front of the group of Tauren players. The Tauren players were startled when they saw that there was another person in front of them. When they realized that they saw the person in front of them, a look of panic appeared on their faces. It's the first one, run. I don't know who yelled this, and a dozen Tauren players turned around and ran away. Players in this small guild didn't even have a decent organization to resist. Just looking at their running backs, Sioruo showed a calm smile on her face. Can you escape? Sioruo's voice made those people tremble. Swish. 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 Sioruo is like a ghost, appearing in front of them is a knife, the knife is fatal, and the target of each knife is the neck. Like a god of death who is used to harvesting, Sioruo cut off their necks in their desperate eyes and harvested their lives. In fact, if Sioruo didn't like killing very much, he would feel disgusted when he saw blood and stumps. But after learning swordsmanship, he always had an inexplicable urge to find something to chop. In layman's terms, it's an itchy hand, and it's better if a humanoid creature chops it up. In the NWO game, the feeling of slashing is very real, so Sioruo likes this game very much. You don't have to worry about killing people in the game, and you can slash very well. You don't care about hiding your sword skills at all. Free yourself. After dealing with those players a few times, Sioruo began to search for their guild nearby. Not long after, Sioruo found the cave base where the Tauren guild was located, killed all the players defending their base, and took away their cores. First, after Sioruo picked up the core, she left the cave and began to look for the next target. There are intruders. In a guild's cave, there are more than 20 archers hidden, and they all draw their bows to the entrance of the cave. Soon, Sioruo's figure slowly appeared there. Let the arrow. Following the president's order, a wave of arrows shot at Sioruo in an instant. It's just that before those arrows reached Sioruo's body, they all fell to the ground crackling, as if they were blocked by something, but Sioruo just stood there quietly, as if she didn't do anything. Fire the arrows. Keep shooting the arrows. When the guild leader continued to shout, he found that no one had shot arrows. He looked back, and at some point, all the people around him fell to the ground, and there was no one at the position where the enemy was just now. The guild leader blinked, and Sioruo had already arrived in front of him with a knife, as if teleporting. Brother, you are too fast, it is not so exaggerated to accelerate. Swish. In the end, the president was helplessly touched on the neck, and his vision fell into darkness. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Zhiwai. Chapter 229. In the following time, Sioruo repeated the work like this. There are too many guilds participating in this event. In addition to getting the core points to get points, Sioruo also needs to clear some guilds, and find the location of the big maple tree by the way. After all, he has not forgotten that his mission is maple. What Sioruo is doing now is to kill all the players she sees and take away all the cores of the game until she is in front of maple. It was like a full-level account arrived at Xinqiao village, where Sioruo passed was a massacre without any suspense. Sioruo also seems to enjoy the feeling of this kind of massacre. For him, this kind of massacre is a game, a bit like playing a lawn mowing game like Three Kingdoms Warriors, and it is also a super real holographic type. The feel of the meat. Coupled with my own swordsmanship, I really have a special sense of refreshment when playing this lawn mowing game. In addition, the opponent is not an NPC, but all real players, and I will have a real reaction to myself. Times. You can't find an environment where you can hack like this wantonly in other places. During the massacre, Sioruo also learned a lot. After all, if you cut more people, you will definitely gain something. Even Sioruo's swordsmanship has improved a bit. Of course, the main progress is in terms of slaughter technology. Killing is also an art, Sioruo realized this. More than a dozen people stand apart. If one knife kills, there is not much beauty and efficiency, so for the sake of efficiency, Sioruo uses the breath of water and the line of the gap to penetrate into the crowd like a stream of water, and like a stream of water come out. Sioruo's knife drew a beautiful arc, linking the necks of those players and killing them instantly. Even without blood, with splashes of water, and data fragments of those people who died instantly, this scene is cool enough. Facing Sioruo, even a guild team of dozens of people has no power to resist. Coordination, bow and arrow, battle formation, magic, everything seems to be useless. The gap seems to transcend dimensions. It was as if a wall hanging appeared in front of a group of ordinary players, and the acceleration and neck lock were still turned on. Using the breath of water sword technique, Sioruo's killing is like a dance, moving through the crowd, and when the dance is over, all those players will be reduced to data fragments. Sioruo didn't know the use of this comprehended killing technique. The players who met Sioruo were very sad. When they met other people, even some game masters, they could resist a little bit. But when I met Sioruo, the other party disappeared almost in the blink of an eye. When you blink again, you find that your eyes can no longer blink, your vision is already dark, and the option of resurrection becomes in front of you. The fourth event was also broadcast live. There are many players who cannot participate in the event without a guild, and there are also many casual players who are not combat professionals. Those players are all watching the live broadcast of this guild battle. Syaruo is so active, the audience watching the live broadcast naturally focused all their eyes on him, and the mascot duo Lagong also showed Syaruo the most shots. This. Seeing Syaruo being slaughtered, a player wanted to say something, but in the end he couldn't say anything, and his mouth hadn't closed yet. The devil. The great devil. The speed of the first place has become faster again, much faster than the first event. It's too exaggerated. What kind of skill is he using? How could he have such a skill? Killing people is like chopping vegetables. Some players think that Syaruo is using skills, because even with full agility, if they don't rely on skills, it is difficult for them to imagine Syaruo's current slaughter methods, which can be done by humans. Compared with their rough fighting style, Syaruo's fighting moves are really too smooth, showing the art of massacre. One thing to say, I think this smoothness of killing is easier than chopping vegetables. As expected of being number one, I just sat here and watched, and I broke out in a cold sweat. The sense of oppression was too great. It felt like all of us would be killed when we went up. The strength of number one is too strong. I'm also a little scared. I'm afraid that he will suddenly jump out of the live broadcast screen and kill everyone in our square. I guess we won't be able to resist even if we resist. The skill used by the first one is really cool, it's like dancing. To be honest, Syaruo's slaughter method really shocked them. It is obviously very beautiful swordsmanship and beautiful dance, but the effect is terrifying. In the game, the way all players play the game is still at the level of walking, dodging skills, attacking, and releasing skills. But Syaruo has surpassed this level, and truly brought the attributes of the game to the extreme through her own technology. In the game of NWO, I am afraid that no one can do this anymore. At this moment, not only the audience watching the live broadcast, but through the screen, the official group of rabbits who planned the event behind the scenes were also completely rioting. What the hell is going on? Have we designed the skills that Syaruo uses? Who designed this strange-looking skill? I still don't remember it. The rabbit at the front asked loudly. Clap clap. The rabbits below patted the screen with their little hands, they were all looking up information. Soon, a rabbit gave the answer. Syaruo has no related skills among all the skills. He doesn't have many skills, and after entering the event, he has no record of using skills, so what? So everything Syaruo has achieved now is based on his ability. Maybe he is really a master of swordsmanship in reality. As soon as the screen on the big screen turned, Syaruo found another guild at this time, as if entering a land without people, the sword light flashed, and all the members of that guild turned into data fragments and ascended to the sky. Rabbit. While Syaruo was massacring and plundering the core, the other guilds did not fall behind. The Holy Sword Assembly and the Big Maple Tree crushed the small guilds, and the team led by Miyi also gained a lot. At the same time, Sally, Zaya, and Crom just eliminated a guild and got the core from that small guild. Xia, Crom, please send the core back first. Sally handed the core she had just obtained to Xia and Crom. What about you? Aren't you going back? The female warrior Xia asked Sally. I'll take a look around again, you go back first, Sally said to Xia, touching her head. Okay, then remember to come back early, we'll go back and wait for you first. Xia and Crom left with the core, leaving Sally alone. Watching the two leave, Sally glanced at the forest behind her. All right, it's time for me to act. In fact, Sally, like Syaruo, is also an agility fighter. Compared with being dragged down by her teammates, Sally is better at acting alone, so she sent Xia and Crom away and prepared to act alone. Sally quickly disappeared into the dense forest. Of course, There are also differences between Sally and Sioruo. Sioruo killed all the guild members and then plundered the core, but in order to save time and effort, Sally chose to sneak in secretly, then steal the core, and use her agility to slip away. Sally did a pretty good job, and almost all of them succeeded, stealing several cores. However, Sally soon noticed that her next target seemed to be targeted by Miyi from the kingdom of Emperor Yan. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I Can Break the Dimensional Wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 230. On the first day of the event, several powerful guilds were extremely active and achieved very good results. The masters gathered by the Holy Sword are all players who ranked in the forefront in the first event. They can lead an attack team by one person, and the efficiency of harvesting cores is far higher than that of other guilds except Yandi Kingdom. The fourth event itself is a guild battle, which assesses the overall strength of the guild, and the unlucky little guild is just a tool to provide points in the fourth event. Of course, the first few days are the fastest time to gain points, because of the limit of 5 deaths. Many small guilds are not strong, and may be eliminated on the second and third days. After the small guilds are eliminated, if they want to gain cores, they can only attack the big guilds. If the guild ranks behind, it will be difficult to overtake the rankings, so the first few days are the most important time to focus on efficiency. When Sioruo harvested small guilds, Miyi also captured several guilds and harvested some cores, at a slightly slower speed than Sioruo. At this moment, Miyi is attacking a new medium guild again. Emperor Yan. Fire breathing. Explosive flame. Miyi's flame magic fell down, and the huge flame magic was all AoE's killer moves. In front of the powerful magic, the enemies intercepted in front of her were instantly wiped out, without any resistance force. That's amazing. As expected of Master Miyi. Looking at this scene, behind Miyi were all adoring guild members. Master Miyi, I will give you the MP potion. One of Miyi's guards respectfully presented a bottle of blue medicine. Thanks for your hard work, go and recover the core. Miyi nodded slightly, took the bottle of blue medicine, crushed it lightly, and in an instant, MP was replenished. As a turret output, Miyi's only flaw is the mana problem. Of course, this problem can be solved by taking drugs. Who is it? There are enemies. Just when Miyi had just recovered her mana, she suddenly heard panicked voices around her. When she looked over, she saw that the person she had arranged to recover the core had fallen to the ground, and a mysterious man with a hood had taken the core. The mysterious man covered his face, just glanced at Miyi, and then sped up and fled the scene instantly. This kind of behavior of picking peaches after the war is definitely a provocation to Miyi, and all the guild members behind are angry. It's just that Miyi reached out and stopped the guild members who were about to go after him. I'll go chase, you guys go back with the core first. Yes, Master Miyi. Miyi has the skill of flying fireworks, and her agility is not too slow. She has been following Sally closely. However, she was still able to catch up with the mysterious man at the beginning. When the mysterious man found out that he hadn't thrown off the pursuers, he immediately used his skills, and Miyi couldn't catch up with the other party's figure. Damn, seeing that she had lost track of the other party, Miyi angrily used magic to bombard the place where the mysterious person disappeared. Obviously it's my thing, but it was stolen by a thief. Seeing no one around, Miyi regained her original soft personality, and couldn't help but knelt down on the ground. The expression on her face also became pitiful, and even her eyes were filled with tears. That person is too bad, I must catch you next time. Huh. Sioruo saw the news about the core being robbed from the guild channel, and he guessed that this was done by Sally in an instant. After all, apart from her, no one else does such sneaky things. Our guild leader was bullied. How could the murderer escape easily like this? I will help her write down this grudge. As if thinking of something, the corner of Sioruo's mouth curved slightly. At this time, Sioruo found another medium-level guild, and there was another massacre after entering. In less than a minute, Sioruo ended the massacre and got the core. It's 2 seconds faster this time. The first day of the event was very fruitful for the kingdom of Emperor Yan. With the core obtained by Miyi and the core obtained by Sioruo, the points were rushed to the first place in an instant, and the second place was the assembly of holy swords. Mr. Sioruo, that's amazing. One person has obtained 23 cores, and one person has eliminated more than 20 guilds. Our points are already number 1, Max said in surprise. He couldn't help but be surprised. This record is too exaggerated. The results obtained by attacking alone are more than that of Miyi leading the team. 23 cores are 23 guilds. In particular, these cores may not only come from small guilds, but may include the cores of medium-sized guilds, and maybe even the cores of large-scale guilds. I'm lucky, I happened to meet many guilds on the road, Sioruo said modestly. Mr. Sioruo is too humble. It must be that those guilds were unlucky to meet you, Max said in a tone that seemed to admire Sioruo. Not just Max, but all the members of Yandi Kingdom will unconsciously feel a sense of security when they see Sioruo, because Sioruo is an enemy, it will be a nightmare. It's a good thing he belongs to our guild, Misery said to herself looking at Sioruo's figure. Miyi clapped her hands at this time, attracting everyone's attention. Her gaze swept over the guild members below, with majesty and confidence on her face. Now is the first day of the event. Because of everyone's outstanding performance, the Kingdom of Yandi is temporarily number 1 in points, but we can't relax because of this. There are still enemies chasing after us. Continue to maintain this state. As I said, you will be honored as members of the Flame Empire. Let our flames continue to burn the earth and the sky. Yes. Hearing Miyi's words, the momentum of the Yan Emperor's kingdom rose again. Within the Great Maple Guild, due to Sally's active performance, the Big Maple, as a small guild, has now ranked 17th. Sally, you are amazing, we actually got 10 cores in one day, Maple said excitedly, looking at Sally beside her. Don't be too happy, our goal is to be in the top 10, and we are only 17th now. We are still far behind, and we need to continue to work hard, Sally said to Maple. I know, but as a small guild, we are already at the top of the ranking, Maple said while looking at the leaderboard. It's not enough, what we're doing now isn't enough. After resting for a while, Sally stood up again. I'll go out again. Now I have to collect more cores. If too many small guilds are eliminated, it will be difficult to chase points later. In such a hurry? But, it's still dark outside now, Maple looked at the light outside the cave and said. Night is the most suitable time for assault, and this time is just right. Sally looked a little tired. After all, she had worked hard all day, but she didn't intend to continue to rest. Why don't you let me go? Looking at Sally like this, Maple felt a little distressed. Maple, you are the whole card of our big maple tree. Many of your skills have a time limit. It's not the time for you to expose it. Let me go first. Sally rejected Maple's proposal. He left the cave silently by himself. Sally, Maple wanted to say something, but Kazumi stopped her. Sally has her own considerations, let her go alone first, and the rest of us can go out to collect cores. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 231. After all, in the game, there is no such thing as fighting during the day and sleeping at night, and the duration of day and night is also different from the real world. In the game, the daytime vision is good for fighting, and the night vision is not good for sneak attacks. This is the difference, so at night, it is even more dangerous. Like Sally, Sioruo set out again to find the core alone. Maple, I hope I can find you this time. Sioruo's goal is Maple, and it hasn't changed. On the other side, leaving the big maple tree, Sally started to look for wild guilds to sneak attack by herself. Sally likes to be alone. In the battle, she is like a real assassin, and she strikes cleanly. Instead of cooperating with her partners, she feels that she will play better alone. In the NWO game, because she is surrounded by the Demon Lord Maple, she blocks too much of her light, making her not so dazzling. However, Sally is still a very strong player. If she is serious about one-on-one PK, even if she is a master in the Holy Sword Assembly, it is estimated that except for the monster Pain, other people may not necessarily be Sally's opponent. At night, Sally, like a ghost, sneaked into the small guilds, killed the guard members, and plundered the core. If you can steal it, you will steal it, and if you are found, you will grab it. Everything seems to be going smoothly. Catch her. Don't let her get away. Thief, leave our core behind. After taking away the core, there were dozens of pursuers chasing after Sally. During this period, these angry pursuers kept releasing magic and arrow attacks. Super acceleration. With a whoosh, accompanied by super acceleration, Sally threw away the pursuers far away. After snatching several cores, Sally was also a little tired. She found a rock to rest on. At this time, the sky was slowly getting brighter. Huh. After a busy night, Sally's breathing was a little short. Dodging skills is really exhausting and requires a lot of attention. Why don't I try to increase my agility? Sally suddenly thought of such a question, but it was just a thought, she would not really do it. Just like Maple's full defense, Sioruo's full agility cannot be copied. Without Sioruo's top-notch swordsmanship, Quan agility is nothing more than a courier. As a high-ranking player, Sally can also see this. I'm so tired. Although the cores I got won't increase much points, I'd better go back and have a rest first, right? Sally touched the pet beside her. Just as Sally was about to go back, she suddenly heard footsteps not far away, and Sally, who was resting on the ground, immediately got up vigilantly. It's just that it was too late to discover the footsteps at this time. In the forest behind Sally, dozens of players suddenly appeared blocking her way back, and those players were wearing the same standard armor. This armor is for the people who gathered the Holy Sword. Sally held the two knives tightly in both hands, and looked around. At some point, many people wearing the same armor appeared around her. There were hundreds of them, completely blocking all of Sally's escape routes. It's really careless to be surrounded. There was a trace of sweat on Sally's forehead, and this situation was already the worst. When she was resting just now, she really didn't pay much attention to her surroundings, but she didn't notice that she was surrounded by people secretly. At the same time, a voice that was very familiar to Sally suddenly appeared. It was the voice of a very cute girl. Ah, Sally-chan, we meet again. Frederica. Sally looked in the direction where the voice came from. Frederica is the female mage assembled by the Holy Sword. When she was looking for information, she fought with Sally once, and even used some fake skills that Sally pretended to be. Frederica with blonde hair and a single ponytail appeared not far away. She was wearing a white mage robe and looked at Sally with a smile. I just received a report from the scouting team. I heard that there was a lone player moving nearby. I came over to take a look. I didn't expect it to be Sally Sauce. I'm so lucky. Frederica waved her staff, seemingly happy to catch Sally. Sally-chan, you are indeed very powerful, but your actions are a bit too ostentatious. I'm sorry, but let me keep the cores you collected. Accompanied by these words, the armored soldiers assembled by the Holy Sword rushed towards Sally. This time, I'm afraid I won't be able to escape. Sally looked at the densely packed enemies in front of her, and her heart sank slowly. At this time, Sioruo was still collecting cores. Sioruo didn't know what was going on, maybe she ran out of luck, and slaughtered several guilds in a row, but after the slaughter, she found that the core positions of those guilds were all empty. As a result, Maple was not found, nor was the core. Afterwards, Sioruo became smarter and saved a living person during the massacre, and only then did she know the truth about the mysterious disappearance of the core. It turned out that there was a very powerful thief who stole the cores of these guilds. The thief who stole was a mysterious man with a hood. Hearing the news, Sioruo's eyes suddenly lit up. "Do you know where that mysterious man with the hood went?" Sioruo asked the unlucky player in her hand in a kind tone. This player was the only one left alive after Sioruo slaughtered their guild. Of course, she is also a cute female player who looks young. Sioruo's kind expression looked like a demon in the eyes of the female player. She almost cried in fright. "I always feel that facing the devil like this is more terrifying than being killed in seconds. That person went to the east, I can see clearly." Under pressure from Sioruo, the female player honestly told the information she knew. "Thanks." Sioruo put down the knife on the female player's neck, and chased after where she pointed. Huh. Seeing the demon leave, the female player breathed a sigh of relief. She never thought that she would survive. At this time, Sally was struggling to resist under the siege of the Holy Sword. "Fire the arrows," Frederica commanded from a branch of a giant tree. Flowing water. Facing countless bows and arrows shooting at her, the double knives in Sally's hands turned into phantoms, blocking all the bows and arrows in the air. Magic attack. Frederica ordered again. Yes. Following Frederica's command, the magicians assembled by the Holy Sword conjured magic, and dozens of magic attacks of various attributes were shot at Sally. These magic attacks could not be blocked with weapons. Misleading attack. Sally used her camouflage skills again to avoid the magic attacks of those attacks. Boom. 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 Sally dodged all those magic attacks and hit the ground behind Sally. At this time, Frederica on the tree still had an expression of winning. After all, the situation was under her control now, and her tone was very relaxed. Flowing water is a defensive skill that can defend against physical attacks, and misleading attack is a misleading attack that can make the skill miss. This is Sally's trump card. Although it is powerful, such a skill will definitely have a cooling time. The time should be. At this time, Sally, who was surrounded below, was still using flowing water and misleading attacks, and all the armored soldiers who approached were also dealt with by Sally. The cooling time should be. The so-called skills, as if they have no cooling time, can be used infinitely by Sally. Cold sweat appeared on Frederica's forehead. Isn't it a skill? Could it be that Sally-chan is fighting with instinct and reaction nerves like the first one? Although there are some unexpected, but things are not out of control. I was deceived by you, but now you are surrounded and cannot escape. Magic gathered in Frederica's hands, and she finally wanted to do it herself. And Sally also felt the danger from above.